Imagine walking through the silent streets of Rome at dusk. The shadows stretch between the broken columns as if whispering ancient secrets buried beneath centuries of dust and silence. What history books do tell is that the true Roman Empire doesn't live only in the victories and glories echoed in epic speeches. It pulses in the darkest layers, in the hidden rituals, the ruthless decisions and the betrayals that never made it into official records. It all begins with a name whispered through the alleys of Rome's underworld, Agrippina, Nero's mother. Some say she was a visionary, others a witch. But no one denies. She ruled the empire from the shadows. They say she seduced her own son to keep power. A version as macabre as it is disturbing, but one that echoes through the cold corridors of untold history. The secret here? The empire was often ruled by invisible female hands, and the price for that was paid in blood. In the second layer of this darkness lies a ritual known only to initiates, the cults of Mithras, held in hidden caves, featuring simulated sacrifices, bloodbaths, and eternal oaths. Some historians believe these cults shaped part of the legionnaires' ideology, but what if they were more than symbolic rituals? What if the most brutal Roman generals bore marks on their chests from these secret gatherings where men became war machines, severing their empathy to conquer in the name of gods? The third secret bears a name you wouldn't expect: Vespasian, the emperor who began building the Colosseum. Portrayed as a popular hero, he funded the most iconic symbol of Rome with gold stolen from the destruction of Jerusalem and the deaths of thousands of Jews. The blood mixed into the arena's concrete is not just metaphor. Roman glory was always built upon the despair of the conquered. Each stone laid in the Colosseum is, in truth, the lament of a people silenced by imperial propaganda. We now move to the fourth secret: the use of madness as a political weapon. Nero, Caligula, Commodus, all known as insane emperors. But what if part of that madness was fabricated? There are records of Senate conspiracies involving drugs, slow poisoning, isolation, and even manipulation of rituals to simulate prophecies. The image of the lunatic emperor may have been a smokescreen, both to bring him down and to maintain control. Because an empire ruled by a madman is actually run by those pulling the strings in the background. The fifth secret? Children, or more precisely, their disappearance. Fragmented records speak of selected orphans being taken far from Rome, never to be seen again. Some believe they were trained as assassins. Others say they were used in fertility rituals or experimental medicine of the time. But what's most terrifying is the absolute silence in the official records, a stain even time could not completely erase. Sixth, bloodbaths, literally. Roman empresses and nobles believed bathing in the blood of slain gladiators would rejuvenate their skin and transfer vital strength. A myth? Perhaps. But there are concrete reports, including potion recipes that contained fresh human blood. This cult of youth and beauty was, at times, more important than wars. The obsession with appearing divine led to practices that today would make us look away in horror. Now for the seventh secret. A plan, crafted by a group of senators in the final days of the empire. They knew Rome would fall, and instead of fighting to the end, they orchestrated the strategic migration of their wealth, bloodlines, and knowledge into the heart of Europe. Some say that Rome's powerful families became the seed of the medieval aristocracy, controlling new empires under different masks. The Rome that fell was just theatre. The real Rome continued, invisible. And perhaps it's still among us. Eighth, the Library of the Forgotten. A lost archive believed to have been hidden beneath the Palatine Hill. Within it, documents that could rewrite Roman history, maps of secret territories, censored prophecies, and rituals forbidden by emperors themselves. Some say it was destroyed by fire, others claim it was taken by monks who would later help shape the knowledge kept in early European monasteries. What if part of what we call Renaissance wasn't rebirth, but recovery? Ninth, poison. Rome was the birthplace of systematic poisoning as a political art. Behind the orgies and feasts, entire careers were built on the art of slow death. Agrippina, Livia, and even Nero are suspected of mastering these deadly concoctions. But it wasn't just personal vendettas. Poisons were tools of empire management, control who lives, who dies, and who rises. The real government might have existed in the hands of those who knew how to brew the right wine. 10th, secret prisons. Not the well-known dungeons under Rome, but isolated torture chambers under noble villas, used to break rebels, political enemies, or even philosophers who posed a threat to the order. Some were never executed, simply erased. Their names scratched out, their voices silenced through pain and darkness. Rome didn't need to burn books if it could erase the authors themselves. 11th, the cult of Cybele. A mother goddess whose rituals included self-mutilation, ecstatic dances, and spiritual possession. Roman elites both feared and admired her priests, eunuchs dressed in lavish robes who wielded influence in both spiritual and political circles. This cult, far from mere religious curiosity, became a channel of hidden power, influencing decisions from behind silk curtains and perfumed incense. 12th, gladiator breeding farms. Yes, gladiators weren't just prisoners or slaves. Rome eventually began selectively breeding men for combat. Strength, endurance, and pain resistance were valued over everything. Women were also selected to birth the next generation of fighters. It was eugenics, centuries before the word existed. The arena wasn't only a show of strength, but of biological dominance. 13th, the emperor's doubles. Some Roman emperors used body doubles, not just for safety, but to create illusions. There are stories of Nero appearing in 2 places at once, of Caligula's bizarre parades including lookalikes to confuse enemies and the people alike. These deceptions fed divine myths and made assassination attempts much more difficult. Who did the crowd really cheer for, the man or the mask? 14th, human sacrifices disguised as public games. Some scholars believe that certain accidents during large events, like animal hunts and sea battles, were orchestrated sacrifices tied to ancient Etruscan or foreign rites. The empire knew how to hide horror in spectacle. And the people? They applauded. 15th, the forbidden gospel. Among Rome's many conquests was spiritual suppression. Some early Christian texts were hunted down and destroyed, not because they threatened the empire's gods, but because they threatened Rome's control. Gospels where power wasn't centralized, where women led, where slaves were called equals, dangerous ideas in an empire built on hierarchy. And, finally, the 16th secret, a prophecy, found in fragments among the Sibylline books, forbidden to be read in full. It spoke of a Rome that never ends. Not in land, not in empire, but in mind. That the Roman way of domination, spectacle, and silent control would echo through centuries. Through churches, through crowns, through corporations. So now, after hearing all this, do you still believe you know the Roman Empire? What glory hides so many bones beneath its marble floors? If this reached you, it was meant to. Subscribe to the channel, but only if you dare.